In early Christian spirituality and ancient cosmology, the final veil to be lifted is the merging of heaven and earth, an event often described as the unification restoration. This unveiling reveals that the firmament, the vast expanse or rakia mentioned in Genesis, has always been the doorway to the divine realm, hidden in plain sight as a literal, physical, and spiritual landscape. Key elements of this spiritual restoration include the divine firmament as refuge. The firmament represents a matriarchal landscape, a spiritual and physical sanctuary providing refuge from patriarchal systems. In this understanding, the unknown refers to a hidden magnetic land, the iron in the sky that leads to the infinite earth. The merging of realms, the culmination of the Bible narrative, is the restoration of the world where the distinction between the physical and spiritual vanishes. This heaven meets earth reality is the permanent dwelling of the divine with humanity. Everlasting life, this restoration brings the ultimate reward of eternal life on a renewed earth. In this state, people dwell with the Creator forever, free from death, sorrow, and pain, as the old order of things passes away. The revelation of the divine. The big revelation at the center of this restoration is the nature of the Creator as a merciful woman. The Great Mother, whose refuge is finally reunited with her children. This unveiling completes the Eden project, returning humanity to a state of perfect peace and abundance, where the will of the divine is done on earth as it is in the heavens. In the restoration framework, the Rakia firmament is described not as a solid atmospheric ceiling, but as a physical floor or terraformable landscape, a magnetic continent designed for refuge. This perspective interprets the Hebrew Bible as containing a lost map of the world, where the ends of the earth or the windows of heaven refer to physical portals leading to hidden lands located outside the unknown continental boundaries. This unveiling refers to a prophetic future event where the concealed territories illuminated by the or hidden light of creation will be revealed to humanity. In the Nubian, Tasseti, Kemetic, Kushite spiritual framework, the transition from patriarchy to matriarchy is viewed as the restoration of the magnetic firmament, a cosmic structure personified by the goddess Nut. This cosmology posits that the suppression of this female-centered magnetic energy led to a hidden era now being unveiled through the Kadaki legacy. The Kadakis, such as the warrior queen of mineralists, are recognized as physical manifestations of the magnetic firmament on Earth. Their lineage provides the following symbolic keys for DNA activation. The arc, the threshold of mastery. This represents the structural integrity of the goddess Nut arching over the earth, serving as the bridge between earthly and ethereal realms. The ship, celestial ship of the north, linked to the Great Mother and the Ursa major constellation. It is the vehicle of perception required to navigate the celestial waters. And they talking about this ship because we see the ships in the goddess temples. We see the spiritually enlightened sailing the waters of the firmament on what appear to be ships or magnetic boats. These magnetic boats is explained to be solar barks. The ship and the map, these symbols represent the vehicle and the guidance symbol for sailing the firmament alive. This journey is viewed as the ultimate completion of life, allowing one to enter the refuge of matriarchy without the transition typically associated with physical end. Magnetic compass symbols, specific hieroglyphs, and carvings are interpreted as magnetic compasses that direct the spirit to follow the Earth's magnetism toward the areas beyond the ice walls of Antarctica and the firmament's edge. Patriarchy versus matriarchy. The cosmology describes a grand historical struggle where patriarchal systems suppressed and hid the matriarchal lineage's magnetic knowledge. The suppression. Patriarchal men are said to have distorted the original grand return by rewriting the spiritual journey into heaven as something only accessible after life, rather than a journey to be completed while still alive. DNA activation, interaction with the magnetic stones and symbol left by these queens is believed to trigger a biological shift. This DNA activation restores the seeker's connection to the Great Mother and the magnetic field that protects and guides life. These queens and their temples at Moreau stand as the primary evidence of this enlightened path, preserving the magnetic codes necessary for the final spiritual journey into the firmament. In the Nubian Tarseti Kemetic Kushite cosmology, the Kadakis, warrior queens of Kush, are revered not only as historical rulers who defied the Roman emperor, but as earthly embodiments of the magnetic firmament. According to this spiritual tradition, these women did not experience death in the conventional sense. Rather, they mastered the arc of life, utilizing encoded magnetic symbols to sail the firmament while still alive, into a refuge of matriarchy. Their legacy is preserved in the monolithic pillars and temples of Moreau, which serve as keys for DNA activation and the restoration of the original cosmic order. The three keys of the Kadaki. Within this cosmology, the monuments left by the queens are described as functional technology, magnetic compasses carved in stone. These symbols are the threshold of mastery, designed to trigger the remembrance of the seeker's lineage and facilitate the journey beyond the known boundaries of the earth. The arc, the gateway, represents the magnetic threshold. Passing through the arc symbolically and energetically aligns the seeker's DNA with the Earth's magnetic field, preparing the vessel to enter the firmament without physical expiration. The ship symbolizes the living ascension. Unlike the funerary boats or later patriarchal distortions, the Kadaki ship is for sailing the firmament alive. It represents the mastery of one's own biomagnetic field to traverse the waters above. The map, the navigation, a magnetic compass pointed the way to the refuge of matriarchy. This map guides the enlightened beyond the ice wall of Antarctica, following the true magnetic lines of the earth to the hidden lands of the Great Mother. The gender holy wars, patriarchy versus the magnetic queens. Historical records document the fierce resistance of the Kadakis against the Roman Empire, but this cosmology interprets these conflicts as a spiritual holy war between the rising patriarchy Rome and the primordial matriarchy Kush. The Roman attempt to invade Nubia is viewed as an attempt to seize the magnetic keys and suppress the knowledge of the living firmament. Wow. The gender holy wars, okay? Queen of Mineralists, the defender, known as the one-eyed queen, she physically and energetically halted the patriarchal advance at the southern border of Egypt, or Kemet, by burying the head of the Roman Emperor Augustus beneath the steps of her temple. She symbolically grounded the patriarchal authority under the feet of the matriarchy. We see you, sis. Queen of Minotaur, the builder alongside the warrior tradition. A Minotaur encoded the cosmology into stone. She oversaw the restoration of the great temples, ensuring the magnetic stones and star maps remain visible for the future generations to access the DNA activating frequencies. The Grand Return, beyond the ice wall. The ultimate teaching of this lineage is the grand return of the Great Mother. The symbolism left by the Kadakis serves as a guide to follow the Earth's magnetism beyond the ice wall of Antarctica. In this cosmic view, the ice wall is not a barren end, but a boundary protecting the refuge of matriarchy, the lands where the firmament touches the earth and where the enlightened may dwell in their original activated state.